Hello. This video will cover Material Requirements Planning, also known as MRP. The MRP module in Acumatica allows you to balance supply and demand in a just-in-time fashion in order to receive or manufacture inventory when you need it and maintain lean warehouses or facilities. To accomplish this, Acumatica looks at a number of different sources of demand in order to suggest the supply orders needed to meet that demand. Those order suggestions can be converted into actual purchase, production, or transfer orders. Everything we need for our material requirements planning is in this workspace. And the first place we're going to start is our MRP preferences. This screen allows you to set up different exceptions or rules for how you want the system to manage the supply that is outside or within that exception window that you define. So what this means, for example, is that if you had a purchase order you were expecting to receive and it's now going to be late, then we need to expedite the order if it's within that 5-day range or something like that. So that's what these settings are for, and we would assist with setting up during implementation to get you the desired exceptions and ensure the system functions as you expect it to. So the first question is, where are these suggestions coming from? The main sources of demand for MRP are forecasts, master production schedules, and existing sales orders and production orders. For forecasts, you can generate brand new forecasts with Acumatica using the Generate Forecast screen. On this screen, you can pull in sales history, calculate percentage variances, or even do a one-off forecast. Once the forecast is generated and processed, it will be placed into the MRP suggestions, and we'll go over an example of that. Master production schedules, often referred to as build schedules, and they are typically seen in make-to-stock environments. So if we needed to build 100 of some item per month, you could generate a master production schedule that includes that demand, and the system suggests when it thinks you need to cut the work orders or purchase the parts in order to accommodate. And the third source is existing sales orders or production orders, where Acumatica looks at that data and suggests when you need to create the supply to meet the demand against those orders. With all these sources, the min-max, safety stock, lead times, and lot sizes are all considered as well. So we'll start with the Generate Forecast screen. One thing to note is that this screen only looks at sales history, not trends or anything like exponential smoothing or formulas like that. And forecasts could be imported, and you can also do forecasts at the customer level, at the item class level, the warehouse level, or even the specific item level. On this screen, we are just generating our forecast. It's not a true forecast until it's created. You can modify your dates, and you can select the line items you want to include in your generation. You can also include things like change in units or percentage change or growth rate, and it does also support negative change if needed. The other thing is this dependent checkbox over here. By marking a forecast as dependent, that means it'll be consumed off of orders. So if I enter a forecast for this item for 100 of these items, MRP will suggest we purchase 100 of that item. But if I place a sales order for 50 of those items within the grace period we defined, MRP is going to consume 50 of that original forecast, so it will suggest we need to purchase 50, but also need to purchase 50 that are specific to the sales order. And once you have everything filled out, you can click Process to process the one that you have checked, or you could hit Process All to do them all at once. And once this is completed, that's when it gets fed over to the main MRP display screen, which we'll go over in a minute. Just to quickly jump back to our master production schedule screen. This is basically saying we need to take 10 of this widget and build that into the amount we need for this exception window range. Then MRP will go in, and if any of those widgets need to be built or purchased during this period, it'll show it on the MRP display screen. Another important window is the MRP exceptions window. This is where you would probably go first to see what items require immediate action, like if something is going to be late and you need to expedite it, or if an order needs to be canceled altogether. So this window will give you visibility into what order it is, what are we suggesting that you do with it, and now you can drill into that order and take the necessary action. And this is all based on the exception window that we started with earlier. So now we're going to move over to the MRP display window, and this is the main screen that you're going to spend a majority of your time in. So this is the culmination of everything that we've talked about. This is what all the suggestions are coming into. What do we need to purchase or manufacture? This brings in all the factors like forecast, MPS, lead times, min-max, reorder points. Everything comes together in this screen. So you can see the different sources, whether we need to purchase it or manufacture it. I'm going to change my type here to just sales orders. And so for the second line that I have highlighted, the way you read this screen is we have a sales order, 4939, that has been entered. On that order, we are requiring that this item be built, and we need one of them. The source of manufacturing tells us that it needs to be built, not purchased, and the system is suggesting that if you want this done by the promise date of 7/12, then you should have started it on 7/12. So some planners will filter by action date, like show me everything that needs to be handled today or this week, in order to get a quick view of the items that need action. So if we look at something with a source of purchase, you can see that if I want to receive these 20 items in by 7/9, I should have placed my order by 6/28. So with something like that, if I want to generate my purchase order, I can do that right from the screen. I just check the box and say go purchase it. And you see my purchase order was created. Then I could go over and work with that PO to finish processing it and receive the items once they come in. And same thing with manufacturing orders or anything that you need to build. You can do that right from the screen as well. Another useful view is the detail inquiry. So if I choose one of these items, go to my inquiry, MRP detail inquiry. And what this window does is helps me to understand where the demand is coming from and where this item has moved throughout the inventory module. So in this one screen, I can see all documents related to this item and exactly what's been done with it. And finally, one more important piece we need to talk about is the regenerating of an MRP. And this is exactly what it sounds like. This is the process that will regenerate all the suggestions for MRP. So if MRP is telling you that you need to buy 100 of item A today, and you go in and you place a PO for 50 of item A today, when you regenerate your MRP, the system will go through all levels of your bill of materials and check what has been created as far as purchase orders or production orders, and it'll recalculate to give you a new total. So this is a process a lot of companies will maybe run overnight and do a schedule. Some may run it a few times a day. It's totally up to you how you want to utilize it, but this is going to allow you to take into account any new documents that have been entered since you last generated the MRP so that you can get a new total. And that is all for our demo of the MRP module. Thank you.